Well, they'll be calling you a radical, the nuclear energy crime syndicate out of control. And this needs to be sent to Dana Durnford. Be careful going down the plowshares thing. The plowshares, that's what they do. They break into nuclear weapons facilities, Megan Rice. And this is important. So involved with Megan Rice. In D.C., the lead, it's a hierarchy. The lead nun was with me just recently in D.C. I love her. And she'll tell you this. This is important. This is real important. Get this to Durnford. The plowshares, evolved from the Dorothy Day House, D.C., Megan Rice, blah, 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 blah. I'm friends with them all. I've been involved with them forever. They took this path 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that somehow nuclear energy was okay, but nuclear bombs were not. Now, the lead nun who runs the hierarchy, she was just with me. She was standing right there, me and her. They don't do interviews, by the way. I mean, very rarely will they do an interview. So she says, Kevin, I think you were sent by God. I says, yeah. You sure did a number on us with the Megan Rice's thesis. I says, well, I was friends with Madeline Rice. I was friends with Dr. Rice, blah, 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 blah. Long live Dorothy Day. She says, we've always taken that the technology is okay. You changed that. You've got us rethinking our position. I says, well, you need to rethink. The one's in the same. So when Megan Rice went to prison, she broke into Y-12. Obama, Heyman and Ortiz, that did that to Aaron Swartz, went after her. I was in the courtroom. I sat right there. Mary Evelyn Tucker held one hand, and the first ordained Roman Catholic nun held my other hand. So the plowshares questions on the plowshare 7, as you call them, the plowshare 7 in Kansas City who've broken in, who they keep doing their gig, breaking in. The questions that were written, I helped write the answers. Now, I did an interview that's going to go in the teaching curriculum. People don't understand my activism. This YouTube site is that much of it. I'm heavily involved with legality, with court cases, where I do all the dirty work. I do all the consulting. These guys come to me, Arnie Gundershill, that piece of shit who really hurt us and wounded us, taking the field, the fake activist. So when I did this interview, it was about these said questions, and you need to learn to answer everybody. If you're going to be in this anti-nuclear, they come at you. And I remember this was the university, they're going to use it in their teaching curriculum, Kevin Blanch. They says, you're like that. You don't miss a beat. Fantastic. We're so glad that, Then I had, a lot of universities have been interviewing me as of late for their teaching curriculum. So the questions go, well, without nuclear weapons, they go through the subset of nuclear weapons, questioning, what if another country gets them? We have enough to do. And this is important. Nuclear weapons do not work. They were put there for PKs, right? Peacekeepers. That was their mantra. They still call them PKs. Post Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the only monsters that ever dropped one. By the way, I just quote the right-winger, Hoover. To indiscretionally mass murder women and children, no military, no country, no nation has ever done that in the history of warfare till now. It revolts my soul. It's disgusting. Dorothy Day went crazy. Dorothy Day's the founder of, Truman. She went on a rant that's beyond epic. It even passes Kevin Blanch's rants. I hope these women and children you vaporize gets into the jet stream, comes in and sucks up into your nose and your brain and, sends you to hell for time and all eternity. That's Dorothy Day. Read her book, The Radical. The one thing, and I don't agree with everything Dorothy Day. I mean, the whole, she had an abortion when she was a young girl. She's a San Francisco girl, by the way. She's a Bay Area girl. She was in Russia. She was the greatest. I love her. But, hello. They don't work. We have banned more war in the past 75 years than nuclear freaking era and poisoned the planet, including kill my father in Air Blast 1, put in a cage, drafted Marine mass murder into his children, spray radio roundup. A lot of this is not my words, it's his words. Einstein, he called it all out. There have been more wars post 75 years in the history of humanity all combined, post-bomb. This is about money. And you have to have a nuclear reactor to make a nuclear bomb. That's what it's all about. Sugar wars, molasses wars, textile wars. In Europe, they don't even teach the Civil War as Civil War in the United States. They teach it as the Textile War. You know, who funded it? The same freaking Germans. By the way, there's a lot of talk about Prince Harry out there right now, you know, and let's get real. And I don't do conspiracy theory. How do they turn truth into conspiracy? I don't do it. I'm all fact. Look it up. When they found the bone pile and they got some DNA, when they murdered the Romanov family, where's the Bolsheviks when you need them? World International, let's find the heir to the, I mean, they still exist. It's still theirs. A pizza delivery kid in Chicago, oh yeah, he was one of them, but he wasn't number one. The number one closest tying match to the Russian Tsar Putin's royal family. By the way, Tsar Putin's sick. I mean, you're seeing more and more evidence of it. And I hear rumor that a bee's on death's doorstep. Dorothy Day said this, let God take care of it, and they will. It may take some time. Martin Luther King said the same thing. For the arc of justice may be long. And, you know, where's the FBI on Utah, on NewScale, and this corrupt county commissioner, you know? The arc of justice is awful long with nuclearism. 75 years long. It'll sort out. As long as there's activists that know what they're talking about and know how to fight this. You can't just jump into the activist community. It's a long, ugly path, living in poverty. That's the one chapter in her book that was so difficult for me, learning to live in poverty. It's not easy and it's not hard. Thank you for supporting all this. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? The closest match is Prince Harry. He's the heir to the Russian. How did they win at Waterloo? I was on in Friedrich Eisenblau in Vienna, the greatest anti-nuclear energy activist who ever lived. Friedrich Eisenblau. I spent 4 hours with Ask Pravad, Nuclear Lies, the documentarian from India. That's who I stay with when I'm in Vienna. He's a gem. You want to talk about a great activist. By the way, in Austria, they gave me a standing ovation in Bath. Gave me some champagne. Gave me some, you know. That's where they farm their salmon. But guess what? You have to have the eggs. They know that. Collapse the Pacific Ocean. Textile wars. Cocaine cowboys. Plutonium wars. A lot of money in freaking the military industrialized complex and nuclear. That's where they know it. And they know there's no liability. NewScale from hell in Utah. SMR freaking little hell fucking death machines. It's a sham. It's a loot job. So be careful, be wary of the plowshares, people that go to jail. That's what they do. They go to jail. So, you know, when they spray scripture, blood. Megan Rice was sentenced to life in prison. I was sitting in the trial. She went on one of the greatest epic, most historic, I'm friends with her, rants in human history on going off on Timothy, she called him. Timothy, when I get out of prison, you put me in a holding cell, built a hole for 3 weeks in Georgia, and turned down the temperature 6 degrees. I was there for almost 3 years. You almost killed me. When I get out, I have something else to protest, the human warehousing complex. They put her in for life, Obama did. And by the way, nobody's attacked protesters and whistleblowers more than Obama. Tell Trump. Trump freaking is annihilated. Who do you think killed net neutrality? Sliding with Biden? We'll see, won't we? I'm the guy that started the petition. You know, we had several million signatures on that petition. She got out. I wrote the answers to those questions, helped with her. You know, Mary Evan Telkin, when she came out and gave her testimony in the courtroom, first person she hugged was me, and she's, you know, the Yale economist. Nuclear energy and nuclear bombs, so be careful. So the New York Times comes out and says that, well, all these media outlets are coming out and saying there's new studies that all this plastic is annihilating these creatures in the ocean. Okay, which we know that's true. Hello. Please tell us where babies come from. But according to all mass media, alternative media is worse than mass media. Nuclear waste is okay. They won't report on that, killing our ocean. The elephant in the room, and I'm going to start using this more and more. The elephant in the room, well, the herd of dead elephants, the pod of dead whales in the parlor. Oh, it's Fukushima. Kevin Blanch, the Post-Ignorance Project. Head of Plowshares, I will quote her. Kevin Blanch, boy, did you take over the field on Megan Rice. At the potluck the night before the sentencing. With Quigley, the attorney. There's videos and pictures all over. Well, the way I look at it, by the way, her name's Snow. Philadelphia. She's the best. I saw her. She stood right with me next to the protesting in D.C. All over media, everywhere. You were sent by God. I'll go with that. Stand tuned.